Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back to The Secret of Monkey Island 2 Special Edition, LeChuck's Revenge. Let's continue. So we're doing the developer commentary, and the best commentary so far we've heard is the second dialogue that appears on the spitting contest scene. Otherwise, we were gonna look at the cliff, and I guess we could go back and look at the mayor's house and just see if there's possibly any commentary there. Governor Marley's house. And then we've got to get to the big tree and get, I believe, the final piece of the map. Unless I've done something really wrong and messed up. So we'll just go in here, see if there's anything to say in this area.
What do we do about it? Well, we just ask.
Looking for all the developers' commentary instead of just having the game be automated.
And so, when you can have the dialogue with...
and then having developer commentary like that is redundant, we've already heard, it just adds more to the gameplay. It makes this a lot longer than it should be.
Nice.
It wouldn't have been too much work to program the game to just play itself in a demo, fade out from some of this stuff too. Yeah, there's nothing in here. Wonder if I could get a secondary fish. Be interesting. Let's see.
It is closed. I think I've been enough of a pest.
Nope, you can't get a second piece of fish unless maybe I can just walk in here and grab one.
Aside kitchen staff only.
Sorry.
So no secondary fish. Trying everything we can to see maybe if we had some extra items at the end while still having a decent amount of gold. We're at 601. We could go buy everything else at the shop that's unimportant instead, but like I said, none of those things are important. The game doesn't really pay off having those items either. One would think for having that set up, there might be a point where LeChuck goes through all of your stuff and remarks on all the junk you have one by one.
That doesn't seem to work.
Or it wouldn't be terrible in a point-and-click adventure game to get to a certain place and then have to sell every piece of junk you've collected up to that point to
that doesn't seem to work.
Succeed at the game and get a higher score. I believe, isn't that Warrior Land that does that? Like every single piece of gold you earn in Warrior Land,
it's already in use,
affects your ending. Warrior Land being a very old Game Boy game.
I think I get the idea.
It wouldn't be terrible if that joke gets played again. There's no commentary here. This is the first time we've been up here. This is the only time we'll be up here. And through the door we go. This window, maybe we should look at the window. We never looked. Maybe there's an Easter egg.
There's nothing interesting in there. It's already open.
Well, that was bad writing. Somebody programmed that for a gag of something. And all you would have had to do is say, there is a vision so unmentionable that I can't mention it.
It's crazy, but it just might work.
Or There's something. It's truly
Ooh,
awful. It's
little
truly
Guybrush.
awful. Just do a joke, a
Good
gag,
boy.
when you look
Run
through
along
there.
home now.
That doesn't matter. And they
Now
don't even
that's
bother
a good
to
dog.
do that.
That makes 3 map pieces. Only 1 to go.
Alright, where's the final map piece? Oh, it's on Fat Island because I needed the telescope. So we can go ahead and take items with us. So I think that's the last time we'll ever be on Booty Island. And we'll have to go back to Scab Island, and we'll have to go to Fat Island, but we're not going to spend a lot of time on it. So we go to Fat Island.
Deep within LeChuck's fortress, blah, 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 blah.
Any developer commentary here? Now we got developer commentary the first cutscene like this,
Yeah,
but nothing here.
you called for me?
Is it true that Guybrush Threepwood has found the 3rd piece of the map to Big Whoop?
Ah, yes, sir. I was about...
Why did you not come and tell me yourself?
Let's go and skip this then, if we're not going to get any developer commentary. And see, we're still here. And unless something has changed, she is
Who's
still...
also the big...
character anyway?
She's still in jail, and that's where I'm just going to leave her. Kate is going to be left in jail. I suppose, before I go though, this is the last time I can look at this poster. And let's see. I don't think there's really too much other bad things we could do until you can't get back to us.
Wanted. Guybrush Threepwood.
So this should
for
be
the
the
murder
longest
of G.P.
list.
LeChuck. Also for the use of witchcraft on the person of Largo Legrand. The thievery of clothing and medically prescribed hair supplements for such
So
witchcraft.
far, all of these are
grave robbing,
default things.
Trespassing, larceny without a permit, disturbing
Yes.
the peace, illegal gambling on a sporting event, use of falsified identification for the purchase of alcohol, exceeding allowable FDA limit for rodent parts in vichyssoise, premature entombment of a non-dead individual, reckless tampering with city-maintained plumbing without prior acquisition of an environmental impact report, transportation of animals not in a mental state to give consent, vandalizing a historical miniature, reckless use of gardening tools, impersonating a woman in order to evade prosecution, unauthorized exiting from a penal institution, reanimating dead persons within city limits, possession of library books not specifically checked out to oneself, mixing drinks without a liquor license, and releasing a dangerous reptile in a populated area. Also wanted for questioning regarding the disappearance of prescription eyewear.
And then it doesn't say considered armed and dangerous that time. So I don't think there's going to be any more commentary here. I'm willing to roll the dice and just say we don't need to go to the governor's mansion. We don't need to go to the waterfall. We don't need to go to the beach. So we can just go straight to the cottage. So there was about 3 or 4 new charges against me on the poster. So maybe, I don't think I missed any. And where is this gonna point this time? At the brick ahead above. And see, I just think it's gonna always not work until you've done that.
A brick is a brick is a brick.
But it seems like it has a burn spot on it. Now. And no reason to take anything else, so I'll just take this.
Gee, I still can't make heads or tails of it. I think I need an expert.
And see, no line of dialogue, no developer commentary here. I suppose we could walk in here and just see. Now I'm particularly just wasting time. Just to double check. We walked through this place twice and never had any commentary.
I remember when you had that.
There's a line of commentary here that we've already dealt with. Up here, there won't be any. And see, I think we've done half the locations and seen that there's no secondary commentary. So we can just skip, I think, the dread.
Do you remember how we designed the puzzles for this?
And I think as far as Fat Island and
Where'd you want to
Booty
go?
Island, we did a decent critical path there. There was definitely some work for a better way we could have done it to avoid going to Scab Island maybe a couple
Oh, that
times.
Voodoo guy, I forgot about him.
LeChuck's, sir. I got
Oh, jeez.
good news.
Oh, LeChuck's
And
asymmetrical walking was the
this
hardest
is
thing
the
to get
same
right of any
commentary,
walk cycle.
just
I think,
because
still to
we're
this day.
seeing the same
Because
cutscene
it
in
couldn't
the
be
same
flipped.
area.
It couldn't be flipped.
So there's really
You
no
see,
reason to listen
he
to
must
the same
take the map to a
commentary.
cartographer to have it deciphered. I'll head him off before he gets there.
If your plan fails,
It will not, your voodoo lordship.
I think this,
And I don't think there's really a reason to have to go back to every area and see if there's some new thing to say. We're just gonna go to Wally's and maybe there will be something at Wally's. One thing to consider though is how much gold do we have? It's still 601. And if we go over this direction, maybe his
Nice.
stump would be back. Look at the peg leg.
Nice.
And so you can polish, he got his peg leg back and you can continue to polish it.
Thanks. Here's a piece of 8 for your trouble.
So that system never stops. Or not in any realistic amount of time. Why it's there, I
What
don't
a
know.
dinky little door.
I guess maybe just to
I
help
love Wally the cartographer.
the few people that may have wasted all of their money at the shop and not earned any more, and the opportunities they should have.
What's this? A map? Looks like only part of a map.
I've got the rest of it right here.
Very interesting.
Can
could
you put it all
probably just
together into
skip
one map
this.
for me?
I'll do it for you if...
I think
And so we skipped that conversation. Now we need to go back to the Voodoo hut, which we, even in attempting to go the minimum number of times, we still ended up going to the Voodoo hut a couple extra times, just to see if there was any developer commentary. At this rate, what I would have done if I was the producer of the developer commentary is I would have had these three sit down and then do their thing, and then I would have called in as many other people that worked on this game at all and said, look, can we get 5 of you in the room to have some commentary, and we'll cut between the two some of the underlings, some of the people who may have just interned it, anybody who touched the game at all, and just see if there's some kind of story we could have gotten in there, because there's really no content here
Back again, Mr.
as far as
Threepwood.
the developer commentary. It's
Wally sent me to pick up
Bad.
some love potion.
it's a wasted feature.
Okay. Tell him I said to enjoy, but to be careful. It's powerful stuff. Wouldn't want that little guy getting hurt. Wait, I just felt a sudden disturbance in the force. As
No
if a
commentary
tiny,
here.
tiny voice just called out in fear, and then hastily scratched a message in a table. I think Wally's in trouble. and I think LeChuck has something to do with it.
Uh-oh. I better go check.
Here's a prime example of the game wasting your time too. Like, why not just fade out and
Let's see here. There's some matches in here, and something that says Love Bomb on it.
we need the matches later, so we do have to look at that. Juju bag. Wait a minute. Is that the Juju bag that we just got? Is that the one we used to make the Voodoo doll later? I think it is. It's not the same, because the Voodoo doll that we make at the very beginning for Lagrange is, yeah, this Juju bag is for the Love Ball. That's weird. It's just a little bit weird. Let's see, we only a couple of minutes.
I think.
Until we're in the Act 3, and then if we speedrun Act 3, you can be out of the whole thing in about 10 minutes.
I love Wally the cartographer.
Someone's hastily scratched a message here. It just says, LeChuck. Oh no, LeChuck's kidnapped the cartographer. The poor little guy. Hey, he has my map.
So here's the point where the game feels like it's diverted, and like I could see potentially having the two original islands, Melee Island and Monkey Island from the first game, in this game, have the map be a 5-piece of the map, and then when you get to the map you find the treasure is on one of those 5 islands, and that would be all you had to do to get to the end of the game. And maybe a fight with LeChuck at that point. I think that would work a little bit better.
There's something moving in here.
And allow for some more randomization.
Sure could use a hand with this
then
one.
What happens here is we stop the open world
like another box of live snakes.
And move.
Sounds like it too.
Move to
let's get it on the truck.
Extremely linear gameplay. For part 3 and part 4. The second half of this game is played totally differently.
In the small crate of Voodoo supplies,
Still don't know why the
that would
fonts
be
are
his
this
home
small.
for the next 5 days and nights.
Like, the screen is black.
Guybrush is forced
Why
to
not
eat
take up the
bat
full
lungs
screen?
and eel
Like
bladders
this.
to stay alive.
It doesn't have to be that poorly
Eventually,
animated, but
Guybrush and the rest of the slithering cargo are delivered to the very doorstep of the Caribbean's
No
most
developer
fearsome
commentary
villain,
here.
living or dead, the ghost pirate, LeChuck.
see, I would have put his fortress on Monkey Island
LeChuck's crate
instead of
Voodoo
having his
supplies.
fortress just in the
You
middle of the
know,
island.
we usually
the
don't
middle of the
deliver
ocean.
out this far, and
You guys
It
fucking
really
for a
makes
tip.
no sense.
Well, we figured since...
Well, you figured wrong. LeChuck don't tip nobody.
Gee.
what a butt.
Ick. I hate snakes.
And no developer commentary at all. Let's see, is there... You can't even walk to the left. I'm gonna try and use the object highlighting because there's no reason for me not to. That was literally the first time in this gameplay I've used it.
Nice.
And all of these signs, I think he just says nice to.
Nice.
No commentary here. And no commentary here. And the deal with this was we couldn't highlight any objects. So
Pretty big.
it's a big keyhole.
That doesn't seem to work. I don't think it'll work there. I don't think I should hammer that.
Let's see, how many other keys do we have? We have the Weenie Hut key, the skeleton key, and the small key.
that doesn't seem to work.
Alright.
It's locked up tight. I'd surely need a key. It's Wally! Wally!
Mr. Brush,
And no
is
developer
that you?
commentary here.
Are you alright?
We'll see if
It
we
was
can answer
horrible.
all these
They
questions.
abducted me in my office, brought me here in a duffel bag, interrogated me. Then they...
What? What?
They took away my monocle for a while.
I see. The map, Wally. What about the map?
Oh, LeChuck's got it, but who cares?
Who cares?
Yes, I memorized the whole thing before he took it. It's on an island called Dinky, not too far from here. After you bust me out of here, we could steal a boat and go there.
Interesting. And the funny thing here is we get to Dinky Island just on random coincidence.
I have something to confess about your monocle. Dread stole it.
I knew it. He's always envied my intellectual look.
Could you please stop that annoying swinging?
Sorry.
And then it actually stops swinging.
Okay, stand back. I'm gonna bust down the door.
What are you, nuts? Go get the key. He probably keeps it in his office down the hall.
I'm gonna go get that key.
Okie dokie.
And this whole section unnecessary because when we get the key, we get caught. But I guess it gives you the hope that perhaps you could have busted him out. And see, this way doesn't seem any different from this way. We never tried to see if these rooms would cycle into anything important. I don't think they will. No, 4 rooms is too many. 5 rooms is way too many. And it seems like it would just start right there. Alright. So we need to look at the hip, arm, head. Hip, arm, head. Push. And then leg, hip, arm. Leg, hip, arm. Push. And then head, rib, leg. Head, rib, leg, so push. And then almost certainly this is the right thing since it's only one. Arm, head, rib. Yep. And no developer commentary at all. Just entire sections of the game with nothing for them to say. Like, and nothing here. Go look at his voodoo throne.
Nice.
We could look at the massive door. Open the massive door.
Can't find the little doggy door.
So you can't even leave. Then we go look at it.
Nice.
And then we grab it.
Guybrush
And if
Threepwood.
the developer commentary doesn't have anything to
have
say here,
finally
we can
been-
just skip, can't we?
See, this is another one of those puzzles where you're locked in one place.
Yeah, I like those. I love that bit of dialogue. I don't even know who wrote it, but he makes the bones out of Guybrush's. He makes a chair out of his bones, and he called it a screaming chair. 'Cause I forget why. It was awesome.
I think that came from that thing about H.R. Geiger. He made a chair out of his dead girlfriend.
Wait, no. That was the guy.
Or maybe it's a myth that he did, but I remember talking about that.
I
And I
don't
think that's
think
why we
that's
did
I thought that was some other guy. Wasn't that the guy
true
who
at
shot his
all.
wife with a bow and arrow and made a chair of bones?
Can't we talk this thing out?
No.
Who shot his wife with a bow and arrow?
H.R. Geiger's, I think, wife
Burroughs.
did
Bow and arrow?
commit
Or shot her with a
suicide,
gun,
but he
and then he made a
just
chair
buried
out of
her.
bones. That's pretty gruesome. He probably
That's
didn't
pretty
do
gruesome.
that. That's
That's-
probably something
yeah,
I'm misremembering.
seems
Never mind.
slightly unlikely.
This was fun how you had to line everything up and get the spit that we used earlier.
Oh my god, what brilliant foreshadowing.
All this nice green liquid to kind of motivate you to do that.
Gee,
Do you know what happens next?
See, this is another one of those puzzles.
Your bones.
It's the same
still alive
commentary.
and in great pain.
And he hasn't even
and make
gotten
them
to in
into
the
a
chair
I
line
will
of
call
dialogue.
it my screaming chair. Every morning I will sit in it and listen to you scream. I'm growing tired of your stupid questions. Prepare to die.
And sometimes you can skip lines of dialogue and choices, and sometimes you can't.
He didn't say what he was going to do to me.
See, this is another one of those.
Yeah.
See, this is another one.
It's the same commentary again. So I hate to leave you hanging, but that's exactly what I'm gonna do. We are taking more time than I thought it would, frankly. We are at the 77% playthrough, and it's taken 3 hours and 10 minutes. So you really do have to rush to get that speed demon. That's why only 3.5% of players of this game on Steam have it, is because you really have to skip everything and know the solutions like the back of your hand. Otherwise, you won't make that 3-hour mark. That being said, at the very least, it's not like our first playthrough, which was 7 hours and 23 minutes to get to the same spot, or around the same spot. It is certainly taking less time. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.